Stereotype is a fixed, overgeneralized belief about a particular group or class of people. Stereotypes have become a common part of the daily human thinking process for many. They can become dangerous when they are inflexible and relied solely upon for information processing. When this happens, stereotypes lead to prejudice, discrimination, and socialism. In other words, people often take their own mental picture of a type of person and generalize it to all people in that group, without taking into account individuality or even the errors that may exist in the original mental picture. For example, a person doing the hiring for a company may have the stereotype that all African Americans or black people are known to be lazy, frequently late, have bad attitudes, and tend to steal. Once they receive an application from a black person, it's dismissed because they are relying on that negative stereotype. These misconceptions have become problems within our society. To better understand this problem, we interviewed some of our fellow UC students to highlight the prominence of stereotypes in the human psyche. Thing that you think of when you see that picture?
Pretty much just a privileged white girl, you know, with the Chanel bags and whatnot. They really don't have a care in the world, and they're spoiled, pretty much.
So Brandon, when you see that picture, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
That man is definitely gonna be rich. He's definitely gonna have a lot of money. He's gonna get a good job, or he already has a good job. He's gonna have like real nice clothes, and he's gonna be spoiled.
Class, what do you think?
He's smart.
That it?
Yeah, he's pretty smart.
So what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see that picture?
Terrace.
Lives there.
Crack dealing, trashy white person.
So if you go to this neighborhood, and you look at this house, if I showed you this house right now in person, who would you assume lived there?
It would definitely be white people. They would definitely have a lot of money. Their kids are probably in private school. They probably have, it's probably a nice neighborhood, most likely a nice neighborhood. The dad probably is like a lawyer, a doctor, and then the mom is probably just a stay-at-home mom. Doesn't do, I mean, she does work, but not job-ish work. Yeah.
So if you're driving past and you see these people, what do you assume about them, first thing?
They're definitely Mexican. They're probably all in the same family, and they're probably harder working than their bosses because their bosses are probably white.
If you're walking in the city, you see those buildings, who do you assume will work there?
White people work there.
Off top.
So you're driving by, who's going inside this building? Who works there?
A bunch of white people.
So when you see that, who do you imagine playing? What's the first person you think of?
White man can't jump, so I usually think of black people when it comes to basketball.
Along in your little Elantra, you see this car pulled up next to you, look over, who's sitting in it?
A black person blaring their rap music and have spinners.
on the sidewalk, coming to a stoplight, that car stops next to you, who's in it?
4 white girls listening to Taylor Swift, because my kind does not drive that kind of car.
So Kim, someone just served this to you at the table. Who served it?
A black person.
See that?
Chinese people eat that.
So you see this food. Where'd you get it from?
A Mexican restaurant.
Mexican people.
Few things that come to your mind when you see those pictures.
Because it's just what I've always seen. You almost never see it differently, so you just go with what you constantly live with.
So if someone was to stereotype you, like having preconceived notions about who you are as a person, and they don't even know you, they just judge off of say the color of your skin, or who you're with, or where you happen to live, like how would that make you feel?
I don't really feel any kind of way about it, because for the most part I'm a little harder to stereotype. You can't really tell what I am right off the bat, but you can't change what people, how they feel about other people. Like, you can't influence human nature. They are what they are, and it's not going to change. So all you can do is prove them otherwise. But other than that, getting upset about it, you're doing nothing but wasting your time.
Thing that comes to your mind when you see those, like why are those the first few things that you think?
Because that's just how I see it.
If you were stereotyped, how do you feel like when people stereotype you? People that don't even know you, but they already have like assumptions about you just by like the color of your skin, stuff like that. How does that make you feel?
Kind of makes me mad, but I don't let it get to me.
That's fair.
So you've just seen the pictures and you've said some different stereotypes. Why do you think this way?
Because that's just how it is. Like, I've never went over any of my white friends' house, and my parents serve chicken and waffles. I never seen them serve it. Like, you go to Atlanta, it's Gladys Knight's chicken and waffles. That's just what it is.
Alright. So how do you feel when someone, not knowing you, racially stereotypes you?
When it's in a positive way, it doesn't really bother me. But if it's in a negative way, it pisses me off. Yeah.
Types exist.
Because of how often they happen.
And how do you feel when someone like sees you and the first thought they had all these stereotypes not knowing you? How does that make you feel?
They don't really know me. Some of the stereotypes might be true, but not completely.
So why are those the first few things that come to your mind when we show you the picture?
Probably because that's what you see in like videos or movies or like newspapers, or just what is expected to be. Like, even if you drive through neighborhoods, you don't see, like that neighborhood that you show me, you don't see mostly black people. You see a lot of white people outside at most times.
So how does it make you feel personally when people stereotype you? Like when they have these misconceptions and like these assumptions about you before they even meet you or get to know you, just based on the color of your skin or where you live, etc.
I don't know. I guess after a while I didn't really care, but obviously everybody has like a little bit of like, I'm mad at that statement that you just said, but I don't know, it doesn't really affect me, I guess, because except if I know you're like being serious about it, then it'll affect me. But if you're just like playing around, like being funny or something, it won't be that bad. just don't be serious about it, because that'll piss me off.
What you've just seen is racial stereotyping in its finest, most raw, uncut, unrehearsed, unedited, unscripted form. These are the types of stereotypes that real UC students think when viewing the images of races, occupation, food, housing, cars, and sports. The problem is that society has provided us with these stereotypes as a social norm that many choose not to divert from. These social norms are so widely accepted that many times they are not challenged and have become a part of everyday life. Society has desensitized us to the point where we do not realize that we are stereotyping people or that we are being stereotyped. We stereotype people in our everyday lives from simply walking to class or registering for courses in one stop. How many of us have looked at a professor's name and questioned their ability to speak clear English based off their last name alone? This is bad because we then have a preset precedent of someone that we don't even know, and this affects how we interact with people. Oftentimes, we do not give people the chance to overcome these stereotypes. Being African American, stereotypes set for my race does not fit me at all. Society has had such an impact on stereotypes that I've been told by another race how articulate and how clear I speak. This comes to me as a slap in the face because racial stereotyping has allowed another race to believe that African Americans are not educated enough to speak clearly, or we speak slang and do not use proper English. Racial stereotyping has allowed us to believe something about a race that is oftentimes not true, but yet accepted without getting to know the person. We assume certain ideas that society has taught us to be true about a certain race. The solution to racial stereotyping is not easy to figure out because it is an issue that has been thriving for so long and has been accepted by so many. The first step in breaking down these stereotypes is not to accept them and not to conform to them.